The Sound of Freedom, the movie we weren't ready for, but we needed. Why is that? Let's chat about that in this episode of Pastor Reviews.
Lord, I thank you for sunshine, thank you for rain, thank you for joy, thank you for pain. It's a beautiful day. It's a beautiful day.
Imagine walking into a room right now, seeing an empty bed. What would we do?
Shivering stars drift around in the sky.
We're Homeland Security. You know we can't go off rescuing kids in Colombia.
I like all
This job tears you to pieces.
watchful.
This is my one chance to put those pieces back together.
I was sad,
We're talking about extracting an 11-year-old girl from an army of rebels.
Not just her. I'm talking about rescuing hundreds of kids.
wherever I go, I find my way home.
The Sound of Freedom is brought to us by Angel Studios and directed by Alejandro Gomez Monteverde. Production company Santa Fe Films. Something that most people don't know about this movie is that this movie was filmed, finished, and ready to be shown over 5 years ago. But it wasn't until they partnered with Angel Studios that they were able to cut through all the red tape and push this movie onto the big screen. Sound of Freedom is based on a true story. Although I don't usually let you guys know, this movie I saw in the first showing I can possibly find on opening day, which was on July 4th, which was a Tuesday. And one thing I didn't expect was for the theater to be packed. But sure enough, this movie had no available seats. It was absolutely remarkable to see. Now, as mentioned before, Sound of Freedom is based on a true story. It stars Jim Caviezel, as some of you may know him from Passion of the Christ, where he played Jesus Christ, directed by Mel Gibson, another phenomenal movie. He plays Tim Ballard, a special agent who went from working solely to catch pedophiles to quitting his job after a decade of working for the government to go above and beyond to save countless children who were trafficked and bring those responsible to justice. This film unveils a large truth about child trafficking. It even touches upon the bureaucracy that agents have to deal with in order to catch these pedophiles and save these children. This movie, by not only tackling the large number of suffering families and children, but by giving us a central family to focus on. It reminded me of Schindler's List, directed by Steven Spielberg, where they gave this little girl a red coat. And although you had this entire event that was occurring around her where thousands upon thousands of people were being killed, this little girl was able to really drive the message home for us. This movie does something very similar with these two little children that we meet in the opening scenes. As always, I like to keep these reviews spoiler free, but I do like to give you a little bit of an idea of what it is you're going to be walking into and how the story is going to unfold. So the story opens in Honduras, where a woman approaches a little girl singing and convinces the father to not only allow his daughter, but also her son to come and try out for this talent agency. Helps these families come out of these impoverished areas and enter into the entertainment industry. Amongst the many great things this director did very well was use of off-camera messaging, where you would not see what would be happening during a scene due to the horrific nature of this topic. It was such a wise decision. This movie also tackles PTSD that these officers and agents go through when handling these types of cases. One of the scenes that best depicts this is when they do a close-up of Agent Ballard, who again is played by Jim Caviezel, is staring at a screen and he's seeing all the images that they got from the computer of the person they just arrested, and they just do a close-up of his face. Now you can't see any details, but you can see the screen in the reflection of his eyes. And as he keeps flipping through the images, his eyes start welling up, and a tear begins to form and run down the side of his face. Now, I really don't want to give too much away, because I want to encourage you to do anything and everything in your power to see this movie. And if you can't afford to go see this movie, I'm going to tell you of a way where you can go see it for free. Now, before we even get to that, I want us to go through our Pastor Reviews ratings. Now, as a reminder, this movie is rated PG-13. So there was PG-13 type of language in it. But not like we have seen in the past where they kind of push the envelope and try to really get as far as much out of the PG-13 they can with their language. No. Yes, this movie does have some cursing. It has some bilingual cursing, and anytime there is another language being used in the movie, they give us subtitles, so they even spell out the word. So for language, we're gonna go with moderate. Now for violence, this movie has quite a few action scenes in it. There is some guns and there is some fighting, but really nothing over the top. In the world of PG-13 movies, this one definitely falls into the light category. Which brings us to a next. There is no graphic nature that is portrayed on the screen. The choices made by the director reminded me of Stanley Kubrick, where they would cut away at certain moments to allow your imagination to carry out the scene, if you will, but nothing is ever really shown. And you may not feel it, but for graphic nature, there's none. None in that it doesn't show any. Which then brings us to adult content, which is where I struggled a little bit on this. I landed on moderate. This movie is appropriately rated PG-13. I encourage you, mothers, fathers, grandmothers, grandfathers, teenagers, to go see this movie. It is a movie about something that is occurring right now. Something we could put a stop to. We could bring more awareness to. Earlier I mentioned there's a way for you guys to see this movie even if you don't have the financial means of seeing it. On the screen right now, you're going to see a barcode, but most likely you're watching this on your phone, so you won't be able to scan it. So in the description below, I also put a link to angel.com/freedom. Here you can give and share tickets or grab a ticket for yourself. Here at Pastor Reviews, we were so touched by this film that we purchased 7 tickets that any one of you can go and grab right now. Anyone who goes and donates, at the end of this month, we are going to do a drawing. All you have to do is take a snapshot of how many tickets you bought. Every time you buy a ticket, we're gonna put an extra name. We're gonna write your name on a piece of paper. We're gonna put it in for a drawing. And the winner is going to receive a custom item from our Pastor Reviews merchandise. All you have to do is submit a screenshot on our Facebook page. A link to that will be in our description below. This was a heartfelt triumph of a movie. It was gripping, it was thrilling, and it was even funny at times, which is not easy to do with such a dark topic. This is one of those movies that is a must-see. And for that reason, we're giving this movie a 9.5. This is not one you want to miss. Go be blessed and be a blessing simply by watching this movie. But that's it for this review. If you like this content, please smash that like button. Don't forget to subscribe. And if you want to support this channel, you can head over to Patreon. The link is in the description. So thank you, and God bless you. Until next time, this is Pastor Reviews.
An estimated 2 million children are trafficked every year, and we can help them. Sound of Freedom is based on a true story about real-life heroes saving kids from the dark world of child trafficking. We know this is heartbreaking and it hurts to look at, but the first step in helping these children is hearing their story. Not enough people know this problem exists, and even fewer people are willing to do anything about it. Our goal is to inspire 2 million people to attend the film's opening weekend, to represent the 2 million trafficked children around the world. To spread the word, Angel Studios set up a Pay It Forward program where you can pay for someone else's ticket who might not otherwise see it. If the ticket price is stopping you from attending, claim your free ticket at angel.com/freedom. Sound of Freedom opens the week of July 4th. Every parent, every adult, and every teenager in America should be there to see it. If millions of us come together today to see this film, we could propel the movement to help save millions of children around the world. And you can send the message that God's children are no longer for sale.